Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And we are talking politics, people, because it is election season, and I'm going to keep saying it because whether you know it or not, those ballots are coming in about a week. We have a race for the LA County Board of Supervisors, District 2, which is currently occupied by Supervisor Holly Mitchell, who is running for re-election. But we have one of the challengers here with us in studio. If you want to tap in on YouTube, she's here. She says, a lifelong resident of LA County District 2, first educated in Compton, then the family moved to Inglewood, went to St. Mary's Academy, graduated from Cal State Long Beach with a BS in finance, and now a resident for the past 30 plus years of the beautiful Ladera Heights. She's a grassroots candidate. She says she's committed to amplifying the voices of Los Angeles County constituents. Daphne Bradford, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. So we were talking off the air, before you came on about your background in radio. You've actually put in a lot of time in this field. So
Yes.
why go to politics?
Well, for me right now, I've always been involved through the Barack Obama campaign. I did a lot with that, and in 2008 it turned me on, and then I became a delegate in 2012. But right now, we need to change. A lot of the county public safety is a big issue. I have a nice background, a very good, successful background as a public safety partner with law enforcement.
When you say public safety partner, what does that mean? Block captain, you were a cop, you were on an advisory commission. Like, what is that? What form does that partnership take?
Well, that partnership started at Dorsey High School when my students, I was teaching computer science, and we had a talk about law enforcement. They wanted to get to know them better. And I've always had a partnership with law enforcement, being a block captain, but from a child. I grew up in Inglewood, and we always had block parties. And back in the day, they would come and knock on your door and check on me and my great-grandmother, who I lived with, Miss Eva May. And so the relationship has always been good. And then, my father got in a lot of trouble. So I always work with law enforcement to keep him alive. And so this was a natural progression for me. And so I reached out to LAPD, I reached out to LAUSD School Police, and CHP at First AME. And so CHP came in and cooked breakfast for the Dorsey students, my computer science students. That was the first time.
So you brought the California Highway Patrol into the classroom.
Yeah, that's what they wanted. And we asked
When
them
you
about
say
that.
they, you mean the students?
The students, yeah, they asked for it.
Interesting.
So we did.
That to me seems sort of problematic, but if it worked for you.
It worked for the kids,
Right.
That's what they asked for, because they wanted to have better relationships. And so this was around the time when
With the California Highway Patrol.
with all law enforcement,
Got it.
and they weren't specific because
No, I mean, it's just because most kids aren't not driving on the highway, so.
no, they wanted all of it.
I see.
So we invited everybody, and LAPD showed up, CHP showed up, and school police showed up, and CHP took the lead. This was back in, I believe, in 2015.
So I guess it goes without saying that you're for keeping cops on campuses rather than removing them.
Well, when they did the survey, and I surveyed my students, most of them said they didn't have a problem. But for us, it was different because we had a really good relationship, and we had that for before George Floyd and defund the police and wanted getting police off campus. We had already established a very good relationship. So they'd come in, and I would host summits. And for me, it's not about me. If my students want something and I can make it happen for them, that's what I'm going to do. And they enjoyed the relationship, across the board. And you have to understand, Dorsey High School has a law magnet as well. So it fit within the law magnet, and they wanted change, and they enjoyed it. We continued to do a whole bunch of stuff. But the thing about it is they got a chance to ask officers firsthand many of the questions they never really had the opportunity to ask them face to face in a very comfortable environment, guards down, sitting at the table, and asking the very hard questions. Now, I did have some students just didn't want to be bothered at all, but they would come and ask the questions. Then they would take some time and come back. But it was open to everybody, whether you liked the police, didn't like the police, wanted the police on campus, didn't want the police on campus. It was always open. So from there, we continued that relationship and it grew. So now we're in the communities, and I've always been in the communities. And a lot of the folks in Ladera Heights, we want better public safety, better relationships with law enforcement. They have a lot of, not a lot, but too many for us, home invasions. And a lot of activity going on. And so we've
even though crime is down, one is too many.
Well, the quality of life crimes, the property crimes, those are quality of life crimes. That's our gripe. We have to watch our cars all the time in our driveways. Catalytic converter is stolen. Mine was stolen in the day at the market.
So what's the answer to that? How do you, I know several people whose catalytic converters have been swiped. What's the answer to that? Because that is the one of the few categories of crime that's actually up is vehicle theft, which I'm sure includes catalytic converters.
Yeah, catalytic converters, and then you had 50 windows smashed in Westchester. The people spent 5 hours there smashing windows. So that's what we come together and we work with law enforcement to see how we can come together as a community and figure that out. Put your car in the garage, number one. But when you're out and about, extra security.
Not everybody has a garage.
Exactly.
Okay, so, but segueing what you're talking about, which is your partnership with law enforcement as a teacher, as a community organizer in your neighborhood, apply that to the Board of Supervisors. The LA County Board of Supervisors are the bosses of the sheriff.
I know.
Do you think you can do a good job regulating and supervising the sheriff's department and the jails, seeing as you seem to have less of a critical eye?
I would do an outstanding job.
Okay.
Because
what would you do?
I have the partnerships already. Actually, when my catalytic converter was stolen, the sheriff department that's in where Marina Del Rey Sheriff Department is where I am in unincorporated LA and Ladera. They came to take the report. It was about 10:45 p.m. and they raced off my porch. I'm like, "Where you guys going? What is this?" They had to go back to the Ladera Center because someone decided to do a smash and grab in the Ross right before it closed. So instead of taking care of myself, I decided the next day to go and see what other activity has been happening. The CVS, the Bath and Body, and Ralph's, they were going in there and just stealing every day. So I sent a message to Supervisor Mitchell, because I've known Holly for a long time. I voted for Holly for years because I loved her work at Crystal Stairs. So, and she said, reach out to Sheriff Luna. I would advise you to do that. And I did. And we hosted a very big summit. And I had Sheriff Luna was there, Michael Moore, Chief Michael Moore of LAPD, the Chief of LAX, Assistant Chiefs of CHP. And we all came together. And now the businesses in the Ladera Center, the residents who live around the Ladera Center, also a lot of the major stakeholders there, the Ladera Civic Association, Ladera Heights Civic Association, their members came, and we're just working together to keep our community safe as best we can together. So with that, after seeing that and Sheriff Luna coming out, we're developing a partnership so I can work with their Constitutional Policing Division and see what we can do together to make our community safe. But as far as the jails, they're old, they're antiquated. I'm not into sending a person to jail first and foremost and forever and all that. I've always had diversion programs when it comes to youth, so I know I'll be good with that. And as far as the jails, I have to just look and see what the concerns are, what needs to happen, how can we do some rehabilitative.
I just sat at the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday, and the issue of the closure of Men's Central Jail, which has been kicked around in LA County for well over a decade, and which the supervisors voted to do in 2021 is is top of mind. That and getting the sheriffs into compliance with use of force.
That's what I'm most
rules,
concerned about.
and the deaths of, mysterious deaths inside the prison system.
Yeah.
I don't know that, calling, well, how would you handle that?
Well, I have to see what it is, but I think getting them into compliance. That's why I'm looking forward to working with their division of constitutional policing. So they have a couple of mandates that they need to meet, but I have to go in there and dig it in and see where I can help. I know I can help because, my father suffered with drugs forever. And he was in and out of jail. Not only did the family get a break and a vacation, but the neighborhood did, and he would clean up. And I know what that looks like. I've lived that. So I'm all for an alternative, but it needs to be a safe alternative for everybody. It needs to be a rehabilitative alternative for everybody. So I have to get in there. I understand what people want to do, but if they've been trying to do it for decades, how come it hasn't been done yet?
Well, they've been talking about it.
Okay,
for.
so
and I don't know. I mean, I do know because I just sat through a very long presentation about it, but I don't. We'll eat up all your time if I go into what we talked about yesterday. When we come forward, I want to find out what your platform is and why you as a Black woman feel that this is the right time to challenge a Black woman in leadership who, is wildly popular. And so, what is it that you want to do that you don't see being done right now? What is
better
your platform?
public safety?
We'll touch on that when we come forward.
Cool.
We're talking with Daphne Bradford. She's running for District 2, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yeah, there is a lot on the ballot, and we aim to help you understand it. Daphne Bradford's with me in studio. She's a candidate for Board of Supervisors District 2. She's got a lot on her resume, an entrepreneur. She's been a teacher, and she was honored by President Barack Obama as a champion of change, connected educator back in 2013, and now wants to take on the role of supervisor for District 2. I asked you to lay out your platform, what you're running on. You said better public safety. What does that mean to you?
Well, we kind of went over that. So for better public safety, it's not about me, it's about the constituents. And so that's what most people, number one, public safety, because it affects their quality of life. Being able to walk their dog and not fearing being robbed. Being able to just be in your home. And
so how do you get to that? I mean, what does that look like?
Well, they want more officers. They want more police officers, but they don't want a lot of high racial profiling. Those are some of the current concerns. So we talk a lot about that.
So they want the Easter Bunny. They want more officers and no racial profiling.
Well, it kind of sounds like that, but with the way I approach it, I have summits, and once they get to know the officers and we develop relationships with them, they love it. They ask for more of the relationship building. So now we do monthly walks, we do monthly summits, we just catch up, and they're not in cars. They're walking within the community, meeting with the community. So that's what they seem to like. Listen, you tell me what you want, and if I can make it happen, I will. And usually,
but the shootings are not down. I mean, if we're talking LAPD, the shootings are not down.
Right.
And of course, with county, you'd be over the sheriff's.
Yeah,
right. But you're talking
LAPD.
About relationships. I mean, okay. I want to make sure we focus on your whole platform. What else are you?
Infrastructure
bringing to
protection.
the table?
So one thing is the whole 90 freeway, tearing the 90 freeway down. A lot of people were very upset with that. So I launched a campaign on that, and so met with Mayor Basses, and I've known Karen for a long time. And she decided to rescind on that because the people just didn't want it from all over, from Ladera Heights, View Park, Baldwin Hills.
But is that a
Marina
form
Del
of
Rey.
NIMBYism? I mean, I like the 90 because there's not a lot of cars on it most of the time. But they were talking about building housing.
Yeah,
so
but
is that NIMBYism?
the problem is it will never be 100% affordable housing over there. The possibility of that will never happen. And it's not NIMBYism. I think the biggest issue was we didn't know anything about it until Michael Snyder. We found out about him. I found out about it on Nextdoor about somebody living in Marina Del Rey upset. He lives somewhere else. And I did get a chance to speak to Michael Snyder. I said, let's find something that we can work on together that doesn't involve tearing down the freeway. And he didn't want to do it. So people were concerned, you don't even live here and you want to come and tear down our freeways. That freeway is a lifeline for a lot of people. You just can't go and just tear it down and then do what?
Well, but I mean, having housing is also a lifeline for a lot of people. See, anywhere we build housing, it's going to be a balance, right? And that's part of the portfolio of the county too.
Yeah, it's cool, but you're not going to tear down the 90 freeway to do it.
Okay. Where do you do it?
I'm okay with building affordable housing, but it's so expensive to build it. It's still unaffordable. I welcome it because I own a duplex. So if you build 100-unit building and it's only 10%, it's only 10 affordable housing units. And so that's the biggest complaint with people. Is it really affordable? Yes, we need more housing, but make it affordable.
Well, presumably when you increase the stock, I mean, I know we have an overrun of luxury housing. Presumably when you increase the stock, it does decrease the pressure. But your point is taken. And
a lot of the units are vacant.
Yeah, those are luxury units.
Yeah, so
but that's not what we need.
Right.
Okay, so I don't want to run out the
building,
clock on you here. What do you want people to know about you, Daphne Bradford?
That I hear you. I'm here for you. It's not about me. It's about us. And they need to know if you want a better quality of life, that's what I will bring to the table. You tell me what impacts your quality of life, because right now it's impacting mine. And so for mental health and those who are suffering with drug addiction, that's the top priority for me versus housing first.
So do you support the governor's care courts?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah, everything with compassion. Let me tell you something. My father, it was you just hope and pray that he got home. And somebody filled that man up full of bullets in the driveway because he was that type of person. Just having a place to live and a roof over his head and cars to drive didn't stop the drug addiction.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you
treatment.
Experienced that. I think many of us have drug addiction in our families.
Yes, but we never let him be homeless. When he threatened, well, I'm going to go, Daphne, if you don't let me in, I'm going to sleep on the bench. Well, you go on the bench. And then he would go and walk up there and I'm like, Daddy, get in the car. And we would laugh about it. He knew I loved him and he was in the house with me because it was safe. And when he cleaned up, he was the most handsome man. But he told me one day, I asked him, I said, Daddy, why are you doing these drugs? He said, because I like it.
All right, we just have 3 minutes left here, Daphne Bradford. I'm not meaning to rush you. I just don't want you to leave and say, oh, I should have said this.
Right.
Tell us your website, how to track you. Tell us why we should vote for someone who's never held public office to have one of the biggest jobs in the country, really, because you're talking a couple million people you would be over.
Well, DaphneBradford.com, and you can find me on Instagram. I have my website, and I'm on Nextdoor a lot. I'm there answering questions with a lot of the neighbors there, and just know that I'll be a breath of fresh air. I'm very considerate and respectful of all people because we're all taxpayers. But for years I've created programs to make the county and the city run. When they allot money for certain projects, I can create that. So I've known everybody for a while, and Herb Wesson was one of my biggest supporters. So I've saved schools from closing, and so I know how to come in and give the people what they want.
You said you've saved schools. Give me an example of the type of projects you're talking about.
Dorsey High School's STEM magnet at the time was closing down, and they said, Daphne, you're it. You are our only hope. And so I said, give me full reign. I had to let go of whoever needs to let go. I asked the kids what they wanted. They wanted to build apps. I filled the school up in less than a year, and they hadn't been able to do that in 10 years. And it was mandatory that the parents participated because I'm an Apple Distinguished Educator. I became a Microsoft Innovative Educator. Google came to me to start their CS First, and President Barack Obama honored me as the White House Champion of Change. I had a waiting list to get in the program. Made sure computer science was the first class in the morning. You're not going to come in here because you're going to play football at sixth period and just sit in the seat here. A lot of them, like, I'm out. Some of them wanted to be engineers, but when they started making apps on their phone, oh my God. They were totally happy. So once again, they asked me to come and help them fulfill a need that I knew that I could do, and I did it. I'm a businesswoman, and I got Dorsey High School to be a part of the AP Computer Science, the new one that they were developing for computer science principals for us, for our kids, and we weren't even at the table.
Congratulations. Daphne is spelled Daphne. DaphneBradford.com, and it's Daphne Bradford on Instagram as well, right? And Facebook.
Yes,
same
it
thing.
is.
Okay, you got 10 seconds. Go.
Well, for 10 seconds, if you want better quality of life, I'm your girl, Daphne Bradford. Just tell me what you want. Cleaner city as well. I'm your girl, Daphne Bradford. I'm here for you. Let's do this together. Let's win.
Thank you for coming in. I always prefer to talk face to face.
I know you do. That's why I'm here.
Appreciate you. And this will be posted if you missed it. One of our candidates for District 2 Supervisor. I'm Dominque DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.